We're going to jump right into a conversation now with attorney Shannon Quadros. Shannon, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good to be with you, Sherman. Again, my name is Shannon Quadros. I am the managing shareholder of Quadros, Meagle, and Crosby in Houston, Dallas, and Austin. And what I personally do is I'm a real estate and construction attorney, and I also mediate and arbitrate cases throughout the state of Texas.
All right. So what, Shannon, is mediation?
So mediation is basically coming together of parties before a neutral person. For example, if one party has a dispute, say with their neighbor or their contractor, and they want to resolve that dispute, sometimes to negotiate that dispute and work it out without having to go in front of a judge or before a jury or go to court. Judges and courts usually refer parties to mediation. At mediation, there will be a person there called a mediator who facilitates the discussion. Imagine when countries have disputes and agreements and they're trying to solve their problems. They come together, that neutral person, the mediator, asks questions, relays offers, and shares things that people can talk about to help them try and resolve their dispute. The best part of mediation is that no one has to do anything that they're not ultimately willing to do. The parties have to come to an agreement and solve their disputes between themselves, and they get to do that at mediation. It can take all day, can take half a day. Some mediations go over multiple days, but most mediations are done in a day, and the parties sign an agreement settling their disputes so they don't have to do anything else in court.
Shannon, when is mediation recommended?
I always recommend mediation at all stages of a game. If you are in conflict with another party, and for example, there's businesses that have ongoing relations with each other. For example, say an airline has business with its fuel supplier that provides jet fuel to them. These are people that you're going to be dealing with over and over again. It is probably important, if you have a dispute between you and that supplier, that you figure out a way to work together and solve their problems going forward. A lot of contracts provide mediation as a standard option whenever there's a dispute. And I recommend people trying to mediate right at the start of their dispute to avoid things from escalating. Because before something snowballs into this big avalanche and takes everyone out, you try and mediate it. During the course of a litigation, courts will typically recommend mediation about 3 to 4 months after a case has started, and will almost always require mediation at some point before trial to see if there's any last-minute chance that the parties could settle before they have to go to trial.
And why do you find that mediation seems to work most of the time?
Mediation works specifically because the parties carve out their solution. What's better? You with the person you're disputing, settling it between yourselves and figuring out something, no matter how imperfect, between yourselves versus someone telling you what to do. Who would like it? No one likes being told what to do. And a judge or a jury could come down and say, hey, they're right, you're wrong, or you're halfway right. Why take those risks? Come up with an agreement, and the thing that I tell everyone is the best mediated agreement, the best mediated settlement is an agreement that is equally unfair to everyone. If everyone leaves a little bit unhappy at the end of their mediation, that was a good mediation, because mediation is about compromise. You're not going to get everything you want, but if you could get a little bit, something, and the other side gets a little bit something, no one leaves excessively happy, no one leaves excessively sad. Everyone got a little, they gave up a little, but it is sure better than spending a bunch of time and money on attorneys, wasting months and years, and then a judge or a jury telling you something and completely upending the apple cart.
And so in what circumstances, Shannon, is mediation fail, and why?
The only time mediation fails is, and I'm gonna be somewhat flippant about it, is if someone is either crazy or stupid. And I say that whenever I talk about mediation, is that sometimes you've got some parties that no matter what, even if it doesn't make sense to them, even if they're losing money, they just want to go scorched earth, and they just want to see the other side suffer. that's when mediation fails. And so that's the crazy portion. And sometimes when I say stupid, I really mean when someone simply doesn't understand the value of your case. You know, I may have someone run into my car and damage my bumper, but if I ask them for $10 million, that's not going to work because my car bumper is not worth $10 million. And so that's when I say crazy stupid. When someone's crazy and just doesn't care, or when I say stupid, when someone doesn't know how to value your case. Again, things are a little different if, for example, you got into a car accident and say you lost the use of your legs or something like that, or someone dies. That's a sort of different story. And those cases still get mediated all the time. But if you do not know how to value your case, then that's a reason why mediation could fail.
Now, what can a client do, Shannon, to prepare for mediation?
The best way to prepare for mediation is actually answering one or two simple questions. One of the first questions is, what does good look like to you? Well, what do you really want? And you'll be surprised, sometimes in most mediations or even in many disputes, people sometimes don't really want anything at all, maybe, except just to be heard. They just want to let the other person know, hey, you hurt my feelings, or you hurt me, or you caused me inconvenience. And they just want to be able to say it to somebody. And that's actually one of the best parts of mediation, is because we usually encourage that process where someone gets to say, hey, tell this person your side of the story, and this person tell them your side of the story. And that's great because people get things off their chest. And then they're more willing to say, oh, okay, now that I feel like I've been heard, actually I don't really want much. Just fix my bumper, or just fix that roof in my house you damaged. And so that's one of the best ways to ask, is to understand what you really want out of it. And to also think about, what do you think the other side is willing to do or not do for you? Again, same question. If you want $10 million for a bumper of a car, I've got to ask you that question. Do you think the other side could realistically give you that? They probably can't. So manage your expectations, know what you want, and also think about what would happen if you didn't come to a settlement. What would happen? And people sometimes don't think about it, and I tell them, do you want to spend 2 years worrying about this case, losing sleep over it? Do you want to spend all this time and money? I, as a lawyer, would be very happy for you to pay for my children to go to medical school. But I tell you, you don't have to do that. You can think about what you'd rather be doing, come up with what's good for you, and then make sure you articulate it in mediation.
Shannon, if people have any follow-up questions, would like to reach out to you and your team, how can they best get in touch with you?
If anyone has questions about mediation, they're more than welcome to reach out to me at my firm. Again, it's www.q as in Quadros, M as in Meagle, and C as in Crosby.com. So it's qmclaw.com, or you can call me at 713-300-9662. 713-300-9662.
Thanks again, everybody, for coming on the show. Really appreciate your expertise. This is Biz Talk with Sherman. I'm your host.